You probably know by now that women test men, and you might have been kind of confused at like what the fuck that really means. You probably heard of it before. Either you've seen it here or on YouTube, or you've seen it inside of The Way of the Superior Man. A woman tests a man because she wants to make sure that he is strong. And so she will say or do stuff that could inspire weakness in him so that then she can say, oh, yeah, he is actually a beta male and I probably shouldn't sleep with him. Basically, she's testing to see if you really are a natural alpha. You're not. If you're watching this kind of course, you're not a natural alpha. You wouldn't need to. So basically, we need to learn how to pass the shit test. If you were a natural alpha male, you'd pass them. Even then, you know what? The thing is, I know some natural alpha male, like some genuine, like top tier genetic alpha male type of personality guys. You probably know them as well. And what's interesting is that guy who's now been raised in modern blue pill society would probably not even pass shit tests. So we need to autistically learn. First of all, let's talk about what a shit test is. A shit test, a test, is basically when a woman is going to act or say or do something that she is going to subconsciously judge your response to. So let me give you an example. She'll insult you randomly. She'll randomly look at you and say something which is a little bit insulting. Why? Her conscious brain did not say, oh, I need to test him right now. But rather, she just gets a kind of feeling and acts out that feeling for some reason, which you can imagine there's billions of years of evolution telling her to act like this. So randomly, you're with your girl or you're on a first date, and she randomly gets some kind of feeling that causes her to change her action. And her action is that, for example, she'll like look at you a little bit weird, or she'll say something a bit insulting, or she'll say like some like challenging phrase of like, let's say the phrase is, oh, I bet you say that to all the girls. You're on a first date and the girl says, I bet you say that to all the girls. Basically, what she's insinuating is like, do you get bitches? Do you say this often to girls? The beta male will say, no, I don't get girls. Or the other beta male will say, yeah, I've got loads of girlfriends. Oh, fail. Now she knows you're a beta. Congratulations, you're not getting pussy. The alpha male will go in usually three of the responses that you can have to a shit test, where there's agree and amplify, cocky and funny, and just ignore. And I'll explain each one with this example. So let's say, okay, you're on a first date and she says some bullshit. Like, you said something cute to her and she said, oh, I bet you say that to all the girls. It's kind of like, that's such a common phrase that it's barely even a shit test now. It's just like, a phrase that girls will say. But we can still say it's a test because she basically wants to see, are you socially intelligent enough to go past that somewhat difficult level 2 question? Because most guys would fuck up right there. And basically, let me just give you one point. In our dynamic with the words spoken and the way that we move our bodies in these conversations, that's how she judges if she wants to sleep with you, because that's how she realizes if you're alpha or not. And so she'll say these things. Even what's funny is to even top tier men, like girls will literally shit test top tier men even more because they need to find out if you really are the person that you're pretending to be. So she'll say some bullshit. Oh yeah, you say that to all the girls. Oh, how's this, whatever. Agree and amplify is basically where whatever she said, you own it and make it stupidly multiplied so that it's just obviously like absurd. So she says like, oh, I bet you say that to all the girls. And you reply with something. I'm going to try not to sound cringe. Obviously, when like a guy is, if I'm saying it to you, it's going to sound cringe. But if you can imagine yourself on a first date, how could you agree and amplify? You would say like, yes, I do. And here's like a bigger version of it. I've said it to every girl in the world. Or actually, I've not even spoke to a single girl in my life. Mother doesn't let me out. You use your own personality and you add in something which basically says, whatever you said to me, I'm going to 10x it. She says like, you're not even that attractive. And you say, yeah, you're right. I am this. Now, I'm not going to give you the exact wording because, again, it just sounds cringe. When guys are sat around in a circle, it's like if I tell you what I said on a date, it would sound cringe as fuck. But you know the strategy, the theory behind this. So just think to yourself right now, if a girl said to you like, oh, but you're not even that hot, how could you agree and amplify? Just think of a sentence in your mind right now. You'd respond with, yeah, and here's something bigger, which is just absurd. It's just stupidly kind of goofy. The next one is cocky and funny. So this is my favorite kind of personality with a girl. Well, I'll act incredibly like narcissistic. Like I am the best fucking guy. Like I am like the Giga Chad of all time ever. So for example, there was one time when I was in the car with this girl and there was some song playing and I said the wrong lyrics and she was like, oh, you don't even know the lyrics. We can say that's a shit test. It is whatever. It's something more on a negative light what she said. And what my response was that, yeah, I hate it when the singers get the lyrics wrong. So it's like I was in a cocky way saying that I said the wrong lyrics, but that I said it right, and the original fucking song had it the wrong way. And she's like, oh yeah, right. You know, she's laughing and stuff. I still fucked her the same day, right? So it clearly worked. So cocky and funny is like you in a funny way showing that you're basically like Giga Chad, that you cannot do anything wrong. You are amazing. And certain kinds of girls lap this up. I'm telling you right now, I found in general like slightly like less intelligent girls, this is the one you go for. This is like the when there's a girl who's like, you know, closer to a Jessica, but honestly, these work with all kinds of women. But in my experience, to be fair, that I was gonna say in my experience, but I was only speaking to Jessicas back then anyway, so who knows? But yeah, she says, let me give you another example. She says, I'm not gonna sleep with you tonight. That's a shit test, right? You're flirting a little bit, and she said, I'm not gonna sleep with you tonight. Beta male would say, well, wait, why not? Fail. What would the alpha do? Yeah, I'm never going to sleep with you. What? Cocky and funny would be like, whoa, hang on. Have you just been trying to get into my pants? You're saying something which is like, wait, you too? Why is it every girl I meet, the Mary, Sarah, you're all just sex obsessed? Or she says, yeah, that's the one I like is girls will say like, what was it now? How many girls have you slept with? How many girls have you been with? And there's so many responses you can say to that. It's like, all of them. Or she says, how many girls have you been with? Wait, what was it now? There's a certain phrase that girl said to me. And I remember I found this funny as fuck. She went like, oh, so how many girls have you been speaking to then? I'm not just the only girl. And I looked at her remembering this and I went, today? This, and she's like, stop it. She's like pulling my hands and stuff. And then I kept on counting it. I finished like the 10 fingers, like, you know, meaning like I've spoke to 10 girls today. Then I grabbed her hand and then started counting on her fingers as well. And I found that funny as fuck, bro. Still fucked her that same night. So it clearly worked for me. So, and the final one is just ignore. I think this is probably the most like mature version. If you can't be asked to be in the, you know, sort of the entertaining vibe, just ignore it. So she says some bullshit. I bet you say that to all the girls. You basically just turn around, go grab your drink and you know, like mindfully drink your drink. She says, oh, I'm not sleeping with you tonight. You say like, oh yeah. Grab your phone, change the song. Oh yeah, I love this song. There we go. You basically just ignore it. And often most girls, that's like the shit test passed. Basically, you are so far above this test, this point that she's made. Like, oh, I'm not sleeping with you. This, you're a low quality guy. You're ugly, whatever she says. Basically, you just kind of ignore it. So these are the three that you might want to keep in mind. Maybe just from first glance, kind of choose which one you want to use as more of your special attack, like the one that you'll practice a bit more, whatever your personality is. Because there's some guys who will just ignore things. There's some guys who will do like almost a direct confrontation to the point that they'll make the woman submit. So that's actually the fourth one. I actually never do that one myself. But for example, we'll say it's direct confrontation. I've seen guys do this and carry that out well. So this could be, for example, where she says like, I bet you say that to all the guys. And when you have this more like this stern, strict masculinity thing, you look at her directly into the eyes and say, no, I don't. That's it. Like, you don't say it like a beta would, who's like, no, I don't. As in, no, I don't get other girls. Please still like me. The direct confrontation is like, no, I'm masculine as fuck, and I'm going to tell you. And basically, you'll stare at her eyes as you say something serious till she basically looks away as like, you know, like the sort of submissive person in the relationship. And then basically you've won that. And the reason why I didn't write that down is I'm not that personality type. You've seen it. I'm interestingly kind of like goofy. So this is my own personality. And often I'll do the ignore one as well. I personally don't do the agree and amplify. That's good for people who are quite like self-deprecating, and sometimes that can work. But if I'm honest, this agree and amplify is like, it can sometimes come across a bit beta. So if a girl says you're ugly and you're like, yeah, I'm really ugly, technically it'll work, but I don't think that's cool. It's not my personality. I'd rather just have these two. These are the ones I do. If she says some bullshit that I don't care about, I'll literally just turn away, and usually they'll start like chasing after me. There's been times when, especially with more of the Jessica style girls, that I remember like I used to be with these girls, and when they would say some bullshit that I didn't like, I'd literally just go, and I'll just look out the window, you know, look out to the side of the wall and stuff. And just, you know, just be deep in thought, literally physically turning my head on the side, like autistically, like imagine she's on my right. I'm looking to her and she says like, I bet you say that to all the girls. And I grab my phone and start checking it on the left side. And straight away, it's like she knows, okay, like you've crossed that bit of a line there, like shut the fuck up, basically. And then the point's moved on. And I didn't say anything stupid. When in doubt, say fucking nothing. Like when in doubt, just go back to this one module. You'll avoid probably 50%, maybe 80% of the problems in a relationship. Just don't talk. Just literally, this could be like don't talk as well. It's a skill to be able to spot when a girl is shit testing you. Basically just assume it 24/7. There was a phrase that when I used to read The Red Pill, there was a phrase that people would say was, life is one big shit test. It's all a shit test. The spiritual books like The Way of the Superior Man actually say the same thing. He says every moment of your life is either a test or a celebration. And you can imagine celebrations don't happen that often. So every moment, like let's say 99% of the moments in your life are a test. Are you going to do what you said you were going to do? You have this purpose, this mission, this goal. Are you going to work on that right now, or are you going to pussy out? You're next to this girl and you believe that you are this kind of man. Are you going to stick to that? Or when she says something to you, are you going to crumble? 99% of the moment, basically every moment, unless it is clearly like basically like a celebration, like a moment of joy, is a test. Every moment is a shit test. So not only with women, not only at a specific point when she says the same stereotypical sentence, oh, you say that to all the girls, whatever, but basically 100% of your time with woman is one of these, apart from when your dick is inside of her. That's like the moment of celebration. 100% of your, like 99.9% of your life is just literally needs one of these anyway. Your life, you are constantly being tested by the feminine world. And so also it's kind of interesting, which one of these do you want to use for your 24/7 life when there's no women around, but you're still being tested? You're tested by Mother Nature. You're tested by your own feminine emotions. Again, for me, it's the same thing. So it's like, sometimes I'll feel like a bitch, right? I'll get like some bitchy thoughts of like, oh, I skipped the gym today. And I'll almost say something cocky and funny that will make me laugh in my own mind. Like it's like your own mind, the world, the universe shit tests you, and you still need to have like one of these that you will fall back on when you're getting shit tested by the entire world. So it's not just with a woman in a specific point when she says a specific sentence. It's when you're basically with a woman, apart from when you're having sex, is constantly a test, constantly a test. It can be something as long term as her constantly undermining your fitness journey by making you food that's too high calories. That's a test. It can be something as simple as and straightforward as her saying a specific sentence, which is a test. It can be her mood. It can be the way she looks at you. Basically, just all of your time with a woman is a test. How will you respond to your woman if she's angry at you, if she's sad, if she's annoyed, if she's upset, if she's happy? How will you react to all of them? Because all of that is a test to see, are you the guy that you think, that you say that you are? And I personally know that I am, because I've refined this. Because under pressure a few years ago, I would stop getting into my cocky and funny mood. And I'd take a girl seriously. If a girl said like, oh, you're so annoying, I'd be like, oh no, how am I annoying? What do you mean? Like, I'd start taking it too seriously. When you respond to a woman's test, like the feminine energy test, seriously, you've lost. If you take it serious, you've lost. When in doubt, let me give you another tip. When in doubt, just treat her like a little girl, like a poo-poo, pee-poo, pee-pee little girl, like a daughter. When your little girl looks at you and says you're a poo-poo head, most beta males would be like, no, actually, I'm not even a poo-poo head. Like, no, I'm not. Imagine saying that to your little daughter. Imagine getting defensive at your little daughter. I want to write that down as basically like avoid being defensive. Defensive. Avoid taking it serious. Reflect is another one here. Reflect. So your daughter, your little girl, or your woman calls you a poo-poo head. What would a really good father say back? Think about it with reflect. What would reflection look like? I'm not a poo-poo head. You're a poo-poo head. We're both poo-poo heads. Now your girl says, what's something you can reflect back to a girl? The singing thing, right? So I'm singing and I accidentally say the wrong lyrics, and she says, you don't even know the lyrics? And you say, go on then, start singing. And I give her a little click, go on, no, go on, sing with perfect lyrics right now. Let me listen to that voice. And then, you put basically the pressure is back onto her. It turns into a goofy moment where she starts singing and maybe she does, or maybe she doesn't. And she's kind of like embarrassed that you put her on the spot, or maybe she does sing. And then that's like a cute, wholesome moment. So you can reflect the shit test back onto her. You want to choose which one feels like it aligns to your personality and just constantly stay in that. Like you've probably seen, if you had to choose any of these about me, you'd say that probably 95% of what you've seen from me is cocky and funny. I'm really cocky, and I actually do think I'm funny as fuck, let's be honest, right? So this is the personality I have with most situations. The only kind of situation which I would say is not exactly a test is like real fucking danger, basically. So 99% of your life is a test. You don't want to be doing cocky and funny when there's a fucking guy in front of you with a knife, right? So that's not a time to be like, oh, you should like not, oh, you're, I don't know, saying some like trying to make a joke when the guy's like about to beat you up, right? If there's 3 fucking guys stood next to you right now, like challenging you a little bit, that's not the time to be in like, oh yeah, you're gonna mug me, well, I'm gonna mug myself. Like, don't be a dickhead, right? There's times to keep yourself safe, and there's times to like play with the world. When you are in danger, let's say there's a woman in front of you with a fucking knife, that in a weird way is still a test, but at the same time, I'm dropping that woman, right? If there's a girl, I don't care, like male, female, whatever. If there's a fucking girl who's genuinely trying to hurt me or my children or my loved ones, whatever, and she's got a weapon as well, we can say it's a test. Or, can you like get away from this situation in a funny mood or something? Bro, I'm fucking sparking her out, right? And you should too, right? If there's a woman who's genuinely threatening your well-being and she's coming at you with a weapon, fucking ish, right? It's fucking straight onto the temple, bro, right? Literally. That's technically still a test, but it's like, bro, that's a test that I'll happily not fucking reflect in love or anything. I don't give a fuck. At that point, I'm keeping myself safe. But that's a rare instance. Most of the time, there's going to be a girl who's in front of you who's acting a little bit negative, a little bit hateful, a little bit arrogant, a little bit angry. And you've seen this, like, this is just a woman's mood. It's just women are just cursed with just being moody. Like, feminine women are just moody randomly. They just randomly get emotions that cause them to act in certain ways. And so when your girl's screaming at you and she's getting pissed off and she's like, I just don't know, just leave me alone, she's doing this. How are you going to respond? Are you going to take it serious when she says, just leave me alone? And you're going to be like, oh, okay, whatever you need. No, why do you want me to leave you alone? No. Like, why are you going to be an idiot? A lot of these are better. I'll say actually, let me add one more as well, which is, I'm getting so many ideas, which is physical touch. I can't spell physical touch. This is one of my favorites as well, actually. So she says, just leave me alone. And you say, okay. You get close to her and you pick her up instead. You pick her up and you spin her around. You get close, you pick her up and throw her onto the bed and like climb on top of her. A lot of the way of the superior man says physical touch is what's needed to pass these tests. So she's in a mood and she's proper like upset about something, and you randomly just grab her hands without saying anything and then just slowly sway side to side. And that will do more for your fucking relationship than you sitting down and with this masculine logical brain saying, okay, let's create a pros and cons list for, why you're upset or anything. A lot can be dealt with physical touch and not saying anything at all. Very similar to this act that we had here. This one here. Do something which is very sweet and loving, and you don't even need to talk. In the way of the superior man, it says, if she has stayed in a mood for longer than 5 minutes, you're talking too much and you're acting too little. Pick her up, spin her around, do something goofy. If she's like, like being in like the poo-poo head girl, where she's like, no, I'm angry. Say, okay, one second. Grab her hands, lift them up, and one second, lift her up above her head, and then just start tickling her armpits, and she'll be like, whoa, what are you doing? Inside of her mind, she's going back into poo-poo pee-pee little daughter mode. Within 5 seconds of that, she's going to be a little bit more like giddy, and then you start tickling a little more, and she's like, no, I'm being serious. And you play around with her like, oh, I sure hope someone doesn't tickle me, like, and they fucking love that. And you turn out that the entire issue that she was on about was literally just her fucking emotions. It wasn't anything that you had to deal with. You didn't have to like, address what she said up to you, about you, whatever, seriously. You just had to change her emotions so that she feels good again. All of this is basically you just relaxing her emotions so that she feels good and safe, that you are the alpha. That's it. So her emotions, like basically she wants to test you when her emotions send her a bit of a trigger, like an anxiousness to think, wait, is he really alpha? Do something stupid. Basically, that's what a girl's emotions say to her. And she has those 500 times a day. Is he really alpha? Go act like a bitch. Is he really alpha? Like, be mean to him. Is he really alpha? Get sad and see what he does. And you need to basically try and build the intuition of naturally just using one of these and knowing how to respond to women and the world. This, again, of course, will take some time because I remember first learning about this stuff when I was like 18 years old, 19 years old. And, you know, it's kind of easy in certain situations with certain girls. And then I'd be with a girl, like I can remember one night, like I got this girl from like the nightclub and I was bringing her back. And I remember that she was shit testing me hard and I was failing because there's a girl who basically will shit test you. You'll use one of these and then you'll pass the shit test and it's like she's proper cute. There's girls who will shit test you. You'll use one of these and she'll instantly, without even smiling, move on to the next shit test and the next shit test and the next shit test. What's interesting is some of those girls, even though it sounds weird, some of those girls end up becoming even really high quality women. Because think about it. What kind of woman would test men? Would it be a promiscuous woman who's easy to sleep with? No, right? The woman who tests you a lot will be the woman who's actually harder to sleep with, the higher quality woman. So a woman who does a lot of shit tests is actually, in general, sometimes a higher quality woman than the one who basically does none. As you go about this journey, what I will say is after a few years, it starts to feel like you don't really get shit tests, honestly. Like once I obsessed over this for many years. Like you kind of know my, red pill story. I started reading it when I was like 17 years old, reading the posts and stuff. It's all locked. You can't really see that shit anymore. But fuck man, yeah, it's a long time ago. That's like I was getting a flash of all the memories. It's been like 9 years since I discovered that. I remember at first I had to really consciously think about these. And when I'd be hanging out with women, it's like my brain would tell me, that's a shit test, use cocky and funny, act cocky and funny. Nowadays, if I'm honest, I can't, even for the last few years, I can't even remember if I've been shit tested at all. If you don't believe you've been shit tested, either you are like Chad, like high value man, or you're such a beta that you didn't realize. So it's like you're in the extreme. Either you are a complete and utter Chad right now, high status man, and you're not getting shit tested because basically what's happening is she is shit testing you, but you are such a natural that you don't even pick up on it anymore and you just naturally pass them. Or she is shit testing you and you don't even realize and you just think like time with women is just so hard. I'd say 90% of the guys watching are in that second bucket of like, yeah, women are just difficult to be with. I just don't really understand what she wants. She just wants you to be alpha. That's it. She just wants you to be alpha and she'll criticize you, condemn you, she'll complain, she'll do all that fucking shit that Dale Carnegie said not to do just to see if you really are. And if you take it seriously, if you get defensive, you're fucked. You just want to reflect it back at her. You want to be playful. You want to be funny. When in doubt, just pretend she's a little girl. And that creates the frame so well. This is what's called staying and keeping your frame, like holding frame. Basically, frame is kind of like your set of beliefs, what you believe to be true. Frame is like your affirmations. I am red pilled. I am an alpha male. I am a high value man. Those are things that you believe about yourself. When she shit tests you, she's trying to see if that frame of beliefs that you have in your mind are actually true. And so the phrase is hold frame. So when she shit tests you, you want to hold the same frame. Like you framed yourself as the alpha male. Hold frame. Don't break frame. This is like a common phrase that people in the red pill used to say was like, I broke frame and then she lost attraction for me. The frame is like, okay, how have you framed your interaction with her? Do you see yourself? Do you genuinely believe that you are the high value man and she's like, the feminine girl and stuff? That's the frame that you need to hold on to. And she will basically test your presumption about the world, about who you are, about who she is, about how you guys fit together. She'll constantly test it. She'll look at you, not be interested. She'll say this, she'll do this. She'll say she's not interested. That's her trying to break your frame. But if you hold the frame of like, no, I know she's interested in me. And so you go cocky and funny, you do any of these, you might find that there's a girl who actually ends up being into you. Like, for example, there's been times, I'm telling you right now, okay, I've been into clubs and I've had the sort of frame of like, this girl likes me. She's hold my eye contact, right? I go up to her and she's a massive bitch. And I realize she's just testing me. She's saying negative things. She's looking at me weird. You're not even that attractive. You're not even this. There's been times when I haven't crumbled and I've held the same frame, the belief of like, no, I can tell she's into me. And I keep speaking to her as if she's into me, basically doing these naturally as she keeps shit testing me, and I end up getting her. I remember being in Dubai on New Year's, and this was so interesting. It was New Year's, everyone's out on the street partying, going to different clubs and stuff. And we randomly, like me and two of my friends, we randomly ended up getting this random guy to come with us. You know how like there'll always be like a random fucking guy who's out by himself and he's drunk and stuff. And he started to hang out with us. He was like funny. He was just doing silly shit, right? Near the end of the night, we're all sat down and there is a beautiful girl sat like not far from us, like blonde, gorgeous, right? Imagine like a really fit girl that you'd love to fuck, right? And she looks like she's in a bitchy mood. Some guy goes to speak to her and she like waves him off. And I say to the guy next to me, I'm like, oh, bro, go approach her. And he does it straight away. Fucking G, right? He goes up and she's like, oh, I'm not interested, whatever. And then he speaks to her a bit more. He I forgot what he was, like Greek or something. You know, like he was in a culture where like, even if a girl said, I'm not interested, he'd just be trying it more. And she's like, oh, I'm not interested, whatever. He comes back. And I picked up on it and I was like, bro, I really think she's into you. Keep going. Don't take no for an answer. Just keep going. And it was so interesting. That's bad advice, right? That's like rapey advice. Leave girls alone. Well, he went there whilst everyone else was just kind of thinking like, oh, I'll go home and masturbate by myself then. He went back. She was still being in this bitchy mood. But again, I could just, I was looking back at them and I could just sense if he holds frame right now, I really think he's going to end up fucking her. She's like, like acting dismissive and stuff. But then he kind of sits down next to her. Then I see her break the first smile. And the next one, and the next one, and then he stands up, sticks his hand out, and they walk off. Very interesting. Did you miss an experience, a future, with a high-quality girl, the kind of girl who would instantly reject and test any man who approaches her or texts her because you took no from the first answer? This is where it gets a bit like, hard to talk about. Like, should you take no for an answer? Like, technically, yeah, if a girl's made it clear to you, she's like, oh, I'm not interested. But it's interesting that sometimes you can actually have those moments. So you need to use your intuition. This isn't me saying go cold approach the girl in the gym and when she tells you to leave, don't. Like, that's a bit weird. You need to know. You need to just build up some level of intuition. This is why I really think like a part of your self-improvement journey is talking to girls and passing shit tests. Not to be a degenerate, not to just go out and have a bunch of casual sex, but at least go speak to a bunch of fucking women. I'm talking about 1,000 women over the next few years, literally 1,000 women. Go get rejected, go through all these, learn the times when you're getting shit tested because you never know. Your future wife is out there right now. And I'm telling you right now, if you went and cold approached her as you expect to do, I'm going to go cold approach and find a good quality woman, right? I'm telling you that there's a chance that she shit tests you and actually looks like she's not interested. And if your frame breaks, the frame that you went into was like, I'm an attractive guy. I've been working hard. She's cute. I bet we'd do well together. The moment she turns around and looks at you with a bit of a gross look in her face, or, she looks a little bit scared when you speak to her, that's her in a weird subconscious way testing your frame. And if your frame breaks and suddenly you're like, oh, I just wanted to ask for directions. Bitch, frame broke. There's another man who's going to hold that same frame, like one of these fucking, I don't know, Greek guys who will just hold the same frame when she says like, oh, I'm not interested, go away. He just kind of holds the same fucking frame and just assumes that she is interested, but she's playing a game. And then that Greek guy takes her home. That's your future wife gone. Because you refuse to learn these lessons. You were just too much of a pussy. You didn't follow this lesson from the Act Like an Alpha course. You didn't follow this one here. You basically didn't feel entitled to her. You felt like you had to like listen to her. Imagine how fucking red pilling and gross that is, that you could have really met a really good quality woman who would have said no to everyone, but you just needed to pass that as a shit test and basically keep your mental point of origin, like your mindset, as certain as even when a girl looks to you and says, I'm not interested, that even in your mindset, you're thinking, no, she is. I know she is. Now, of course, that could be complete like stupidity, right? It could be so clear that a girl is into you or not. But you never really know. For example, isn't it common culture that it's like, oh, don't approach girls in the gym, especially when they've got headphones on, right? I can tell you multiple times that I've done that and I still ended up sleeping with the girl. I can tell you multiple times where I've walked up to a girl, like for example, I'll tell you one story when I was in my second year of university. Me and my friends, we had this conversation that you couldn't sleep with an international student. Basically, we went to a university where a lot of Chinese students would go to. And we'd see some of these Chinese girls and they were quite attractive, right? But it was like you could never infiltrate. They were always with like their own people. It was weird. You never saw like a Chinese person with like a white guy or a brown guy or anything. It was like they just didn't really mix well with the UK nationals here, right? Not that much, right? Especially we had never saw like a girl with a local guy. But I saw this girl a few times and I didn't say anything because, Chinese girls, these international girls stick to themselves, and she didn't even look at me once. But one of the things I noticed was like she was short, small, petite, and she had busty titties, bro. Like imagine a Chinese girl with like fucking nice titties, right? And so I'm there like looking at her. I'm 18 or 19 at this point, right? And she comes in and does the same shit that all fucking international students do. She comes in, uses the treadmill for like half an hour, and then does like random stretches with like her hamstring, like next to the bench next to you. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm using the Smith machine, and she's like stretching on the side of it, like behind it. It's just strange, right? Never spoke to her. She never even looked at me once, right? One time I'm in the gym and I'm with my friend and I'm in like a confident mood, and she walks in and she goes straight to like she actually went to the weightlifting machine this time, which was odd. I'd never saw her go to like the weightlifting side. She usually just used to do cardio. Most of the international girls would just do cardio, right? Getting like muscle wasn't really a thing for these type of girls. But she's like going onto the lat pull down machine. She hasn't looked at me. In fact, she's literally sat down on the machine right now. And in this confident mode, I walk straight over to her. She's got headphones on, not just earphones, headphones. And I kind of wave towards her like this, and she takes it off and she looks at me a bit weird, like it's strange. And I just say like, oh, hi, I see you here often. What time does the gym close? She's like, what? And I say, what, do you know what time the gym, because I didn't know what the fuck to say, right? So I said, do you know what time the gym closes? And she says, 10 p.m. Now, I knew because I was just making conversation. I'm in this gym every fucking day, right? So I knew it was 24 hours. I've been here at like 2 a.m. before. But she says 10 p.m. I'm like, oh, yeah. So you hitting this machine. Think about that basic ass brain dead game. Are you hitting this machine? It was just something to say. And she's like, yeah, I'm trying it. And I say, okay, well, good. Like, go, let's see your form. She does it with pretty good form. I'm surprised. And it's like we speak a little bit more. And I flirt a little bit, and she's like, kind of receptive, but not. And it's in my frame that, no, I can get her. I can get her. But I'm telling you right now, a weaker guy who was less red-pilled would have taken her to be like, oh, she's not that interested, because she wasn't really talking to me. She finished the set, for example. Imagine she does the set of lat pull-downs, and she's facing forward once she's finished it. Like, she didn't look back at me or anything, so it was a bit awkward. I had to kind of like introduce, like, to start the conversation again. I end up saying, we should get a drink and I want to take your number. And she actually gives me her number. She gives me her WhatsApp. I text her later on and we're going to like meet for like a little bit of a drink, right? And she invited me to her flat. I thought, oh shit, I'm about to get laid. Right? That's fucking awesome. I go there. And she is like reserved. So basically, she had told her flatmates that I was coming to be careful, and she kept a knife in her room just in cases as well. Like it was like I've later found that out, right? But basically, she wasn't used to doing this shit, right? So I get there, and it's there's a bit of like awkward resistance and stuff where it's like, I want to fuck, and I can tell she's like delaying it and stuff, and she's not interested at all. But I kept on holding the same frame. I'm trying to push a little bit further, and she's like looking at me weird. When I went in for a kiss, she revolted backwards like this. I held the same fucking frame. Guess what happened? Didn't fuck her. Didn't even kiss her this same day. Didn't even kiss her. Actually, the most that I was kept on going forward for the kiss, and she was like, like she wasn't like, no, get out, but she was like, oh no, you're not interested. Okay, then I pulled back a little bit. Then we like, I don't know, we were talking a bit more, drinking some water, whatever, drinking some drinks and stuff. And then I went back into it, and she was like kind of moving off to the side, so I just peeled it back and stuff. Then eventually, when I'm leaving, I say to her, give me a kiss here, and she's like, feeling a bit awkward, but I put it next to her, and she gives me a little peck. Right, done. That's it. I didn't let go of the same frame. A few days later, I receive a text saying, my gym workouts are ruined because of you, and it's her. And basically, she's been fantasizing about me now that, we had this like one little experience. And when she goes to the gym, she said she was constantly like looking out to see if I'd walk into the gym. So then I say, I speak to her a little bit and I tell her to come over to my flat. And she comes in and she pounces on me. And I'm having sex within like 10 minutes from there. I didn't break the frame of that she wanted me. Imagine at that moment, the first time in a flat that she kind of like pulled back from the kiss. And imagine if I didn't know about shit tests and frame and everything. And I suddenly had such a weak frame, like a weak set of beliefs, that when she retracted back, my new set of beliefs generated that, oh, she's not into you, don't push for it. I held frame being like the frame that she was into me, that I'm a man, she's a woman, we want to fuck. I held that same frame, and within a few days, and she became a really good like friends with benefits for me. She was like 26 years old. I was, I think, about 19, so she was like a mature student doing like a PhD or something like that. And she'd go and buy me gifts. Like every time she'd come over to fuck me, she'd literally come with like weightlifting gloves, jewelry for me, and everything. She was like from like a fairly wealthy family in China, and she'd buy like sexy dresses. She had like police outfits and everything, and she was, you know, using all like basically her time with me to be able to sexually explore and enjoy herself. And that was like I'm not gonna lie, it was a fucking amazing experience for a few months, where this girl who lived in my building would text me that she basically wanted me to fuck her, and she'd come up to my place, suck me off, get plowed by me, and then like, you know, give me a kiss, say that she got me this present, she got me this cheesecake from the restaurant that she's been to or something, and then she'd leave again. Think about how awesome that is. Now, yeah, casual sex, whatever, but I actually really liked her and she liked me, so it was like that didn't feel degenerate for me at all, right? Imagine if on that first day, my frame, my set of beliefs about the world, my mindset, my mentality was, oh no, she's got headphones in, can't speak to her. Imagine if when I spoke to her and she hits the set, she didn't look forward at me, and then my new set of beliefs was like, oh no, she's not interested, the conversation's ended. I held the frame that I'm attractive, that I'm sexy, that she's a woman, I'm a man, she'll want me, I've just got to present myself to her. Even under points of tests, which she didn't, you know, if I asked her, she'd say like she didn't even realize she was testing me. She'd say, no, I wasn't even testing you at all. They don't know that they're doing it. They don't consciously sit there and think, oh, I'll test him today. They just randomly fucking do shit that they don't even realize, because they want to see, will you stick to the frame? Will you hold frame? So these are phrases. The reason why I'm telling you with so much detail is because these are phrases that I want us to use more inside of Adonis School. I want us to be talking about, here's the shit tests that I went on a date and this girl, here's the shit test that she had, and here's how I responded. I used cocky and funny, and this is what I responded with. It was awesome, whatever. Here's the frame that I went in with. I went in with this frame, this set of beliefs that I really, really believed. And here's how she challenged my frame, but I held frame, and then I got her number. I kissed her, whatever. Hey guys, I broke frame yesterday. This is what happened. I had the frame that, you know, me and her were going to get along, but then she tested me once and I broke frame, and I suddenly started to respond to her instead of like, you know, being centered in myself. A man whose frame, you understand the word frame now, right? Frame is just like a man's mindset who is susceptible to changing because of what a woman does is a weak beta male. A man who has a mindset, you know, a set of beliefs, a mentality of like the world, women, him and this one woman, and he doesn't change that based on what that woman is doing, even as so much that she literally looks at you as if you are unattractive. He doesn't allow his frame to be broken. That's a strong man. Can you see how this may be even like a superpower? You go, like, because you've heard about the power of visualization belief. This is like that on steroids, where when you see a woman, you want to start to create the frame that you like, that you are attractive, she's attractive. Of course, she would love